Good day and welcome to the story behind the stories for the week of October 23rd, 2020. I was writing some dates today on some future stuff and I was having to learn to write 2021. It's coming soon. Anyway, on a bit of a snowy day, well, the snow was the other day, starting to melt off now, but we're obviously into winter a little bit. I'm Ken Waddell. I'm publisher of the Neepawa Banner Press. With me today I have Paterson, who is one of our very capable news people in our news department. And yes, we are a newspaper that still has a news department. It's unusual these days for small town papers to have a news department, but we have three people who work pretty darn hard bringing the news out every week. We've got a good paper this week. I hope that they get better every week, and I want to thank you for reading them and thank you for tuning in. So hopefully we can give you what is the story behind the story. So Kira, we got, I know you didn't write this story. Owen's away today. We gave him a day off. Actually, he did exactly as you're supposed to do in this day and age. He wasn't feeling well, so he went home yesterday. And he wasn't feeling well this morning, so he stayed home. Good on Owen for that. Anyway, but Kira will more than ably fill in the blanks here.
Yeah.
You're a young person. Do you bike? Have you been biking on the bike trail yet?
Nope. I haven't actually been on a bike in years.
Oh, okay.
It's been a long time.
Have you walked the trail yet?
I haven't even been out there yet.
Oh my goodness.
I need to get out there and get a look. I've had a little hand slap once in a while when people say, "Oh, you haven't been out there? You got to go and see it," right?
But you live in the country. You walk all
Exactly.
the time.
I have my own trails.
Yeah, there you go.
We got the cow trails.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks, from the pictures, I've seen quite a few pictures, and it looks like it's amazing. There's tons of like obstacles and like rampy things. I don't know what they're called, but it looks pretty
Jumps
cool.
even.
Jumps, yeah. It's crazy. Like, it's stuff that I wouldn't try yet. There are easier courses, but the pictures that make the coolest shots are on the harder trails, which have all of the jumps and the obstacles and the wavy things and whatnot. But yeah, they hadn't had a proper name for it until this week, and it was announced on Monday. And High Life, who bought the naming rights, they actually contributed about $100,000 to the trail park, which is almost half of the bill. So it was a huge contribution. And they got the naming rights and they decided to name it the High Life Back 40. So it makes sense. It's 40 acres of land. And it's kind of at the back of Neepawa on the north end. So it really makes sense in this context to call it the Back 40. So people are going to have to start getting used to saying, okay, I'm going to go biking, I'm going to go walking at the Back 40. So it's pretty cool. It was really, there was a lot of hype around, the name's going to come out, we're going to be able to have proper signage and all that kind of thing. So it was pretty exciting when they actually announced it this week.
Yeah, the naming rights, as you said, went to High Life, and they donated around $100,000. I think the check was actually literally $100,000, and so I think it's going to be a very good asset for the community. One thing that we've done quite a bit of on NAC TV and through our paper as well is promoting the work of photographer and videographer John Luigi Pito, who has some great surface level shots, but also uses his drone very effectively. So if you go on the town Facebook site, I think we may even have it on our Neepawa Banner Facebook site, and we've been using some of the material that John shot on News and Views and that sort of thing on NAC TV. So if you don't want to go out biking, you can still enjoy it through the videos that the pictures we have in the paper and the videos that are on the various sites. So it's pretty cool. Then the Minister, Rochelle Squires, was in from the provincial government, was in town to participate in this opening and extend her congratulations, although I don't think there's any provincial money has gone into it, but there is provincial money certainly gone into the sewage treatment plant, which this whole project came out of that because they had to get a whole bunch of clay for the new sewage treatment facility. And with all those holes and borrow pits and everything out there, they decided to turn it into a bike park. So the province did contribute indirectly, but in a very direct manner, the province is contributing to the, we've talked about this a little bit before on the show, and I talked earlier this year with Blake McCutcheon, Mayor of Neepawa, about the development, and it's a $2.25 million expansion to the Neepawa water treatment plant. So at both ends of the system are getting significant upgrades, increase in capacity on the water intake side and increased capacity for the sewage treatment on the other end of the system. And they don't need the water capacity just yet, but as Blake McCutcheon pointed out, and I think he's right, he feels that the population of Neepawa is pushing 6,000 people, and once we hit 6,400 people, that will be a doubling of population from about 7-8 years ago. So the town is certainly growing, largely because of High Life, but for many other reasons too. That Neepawa is definitely growing. So I did a column this week, and I have to flip to it because I've done, as I said before, I've done probably 1,500 columns since we started the newspaper in 1989. And but the thing that I hammer away at today, it's not COVID for once. I'm so tired of seeing news releases. I'm seeing shows on TV, all the rest of it, where they're not telling the truth. So I was a little hard on the Free Press this week because they did a story, a good story, 3 of them actually, on 3 farm families, taking people through the experiences of these 3 younger farmers, farm couples, and with their the sowing and the spraying and then the harvesting and everything else and what the future holds. But they said right up front, they went out with a premise. They said the biggest issue facing farms today is climate change. And I cried BS on that one. I'm sorry. I don't believe it is the biggest challenge facing farmers today. Climate is changing. Yes, it has always changed. I don't think it's the biggest issue facing farmers today. And I go on from there to talk about, I think the biggest challenge facing us today is to try and sort out the truth in all the material that gets shoved at us. The U.S. election certainly is a lot of untruths there, I'll tell you, being spread around, and in the Canadian political scene as well, and even Manitoba, and sometimes even locally. So it's important that and newspapers are a very important part of this, to try and bring out discussion so we can find out what the truth is. Now, I don't mind dealing with adversity as long as I know the truth, and was my point there. But anyway, I've ranted. Do you want to rant about my rant?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
You got the point across pretty well, so
yeah.
We can keep moving. We've got lots of stuff in this paper this week.
Okay, tell us about the Roxy.
Casper was very busy this week, actually the last couple of weeks, talking to several members of the Neepawa Theatre Centre board. And that board is in charge of the Roxy Theatre in Neepawa. So they had an AGM. Cass got an update before the AGM directly from the board chair, Kate Jackman-Atkinson. And they also have an upcoming event. So there was lots to cover there. We've got 3 stories in the paper by Cass about the Roxy this week. And so I'll start with the AGM. It's basically a little bit of kind of an overview of the finances. They had obviously major challenges. They've had to be closed since March. There was a time when they were allowed to open. I think it was back in August, maybe, back in the summer sometime. And they decided against it because they are volunteer run and they didn't want to put their volunteers in the position of potentially being exposed to COVID-19, but also having to police all of the health regulations that are accompanying the permission to open theaters. So obviously, yeah, there was a lot of challenges. They didn't make as much money as normal years and that kind of a thing, but they do have some reserve fund that has been able to get them through. that is kind of a little bit about what they talk about in just the general update, which is on page 19 as well. And then the concert. They have an upcoming event to hopefully make some money back and not be dipping into their reserve fund as much. And that's pretty exciting. The local band Lunch Money is putting on a concert. They are not charging for their performance, but they will be taking admission, obviously, to help support the Roxy. So that is taking place on November 14th. And they have a couple of show times, one at 2 and one at 7, because they want to be able to let as many people in as possible, but obviously not pack the theater all at once, right? And there will be tickets up for sale. October 24th, 31st, and November 7th. I believe those are all Saturdays. And they are going to be, the box office will be open those 3 days in advance, so that people can buy either a ticket for the show or just buy a support ticket. If they don't really feel comfortable going to the show in person, then they can still support the Roxy and still purchase a ticket. I don't have prices or anything like that yet, but I do believe that they will be advertising next week with more details as well. That kind of covers, that does not cover, that's just a taste. Obviously, Casper would have been able to cover this a little bit better because they were the ones that actually covered the story and actually spoke to the board members. So there's lots of details, definitely get them. The AGM is on page 2 of this week. The concert preview is on page 3. And as I mentioned before, the kind of overall update is on page 19. No.
That's it,
Ready to go.
Well, it's 3 good stories on a good project, and a good, Roxy's almost always a good news story. And that concert's on the 14th. That's a Saturday, I believe. And just checked my little handy dandy iPhone calendar. And I think it's a Saturday. So you may want to get involved with that. I know it's going to be exciting. There's a pent-up demand in the community. Let's do something safely. Well, let's do something, and this is certainly a good something to get involved with for sure. And so I'm pretty happy that they're doing that. And kudos to Lunch Money, a good group. They're a bunch of old guys, not as old as me, but they're old. Anyway, so we have a follow-up on a story from last week, and it's been going on for a little bit here, and obviously the story's been going on for a long time, and that's the bank fraud that made the Westlake Gladstone municipality a victim, and also to a certain extent it looks like Stride Credit Union is victimized here too, because it doesn't look good on anybody when this has happened. And so far we basically have dueling press releases, but because Credit Union is not agreeing fully with the Westlake Gladstone, and Westlake Gladstone is obviously not agreeing with the Stride Credit Union on what happened here. But in a nutshell, it was $447,000 went missing. And we've got the story here on, I got to look it up again here, page 9. I get mixed up here, having trouble counting. Anyway, just want to make sure we get it right though, because it was very important. We wanted to find out, and we asked, and we finally got the answer. That is that the funds started to go missing on the 19th, I believe it was, of December, right? Yeah. And then on it was the 6th of January when it was discovered and immediately reported. Coralie Smith, the CEO of the Westlake Gladstone, said in an interview with Owen Devereaux that she, as soon as she saw that the money was missing, she went to the authorities, went to Stride, went to the insurance company, went to the police. And it's all under investigation right now. And there's a lot of theories going on out there about how could this possibly happen. And I'm fully convinced that, at this point anyway, that Stride doesn't know how it happened. I don't think the insurance company knows how it happened. And certainly Westlake Gladstone doesn't know how it happened. But somebody accessed their account and siphoned off money, $9,950 roughly, I think 47 times, so it came up to about $45,000. That's why I said 447. It's 445,000, but very methodically drained their account down by $445,000, and it just creates a whole lot of scariness really is how confident can we be that our bank accounts won't get hacked? And this bank account got hacked somehow, it would appear. I don't think there's any indication there was any kind of fraud on anybody's part locally. And it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. And people, seems especially older people, but people are quite wary of what's happening with their bank account. So anyway, yeah. Do you have a bank account?
I do.
You have a bank? Do you write checks?
No.
Rarely.
No.
Never.
I don't even have a checkbook.
Don't have a checkbook.
No.
So how do you do it? Online banking?
Online banking, debit card, that kind of thing, yeah.
What's your credit card number there so I can...
I think it's 23.
No, never mind. I'm going to digress here for a little minute because people are getting, this is a totally different thing, but it's a fraud situation. I'm just going to put it out there. People are getting calls all across Canada on their cell phones, private numbers, whatever, and it's a message that goes something like this. This is the Government of Canada calling Canada Revenue Agency. Your account has been breached and or is in arrears or whatever, and your social insurance number has been something or other or whatever. Please press 1 for immediate attention to avoid a court appearance and possibly going to jail. So I kind of like having fun with these guys, so I press 1 and see what they say. And it's always somebody with a very non-Canadian accent on the phone telling us that that you have to do this and have to do that, and what is your name? And don't talk to them. CRA does not deal with issues by phone. They deal by mail. Trust me. They will send you a letter and tell you you've overpaid or you've underpaid or you're in arrears or whatever. They will send you a letter, first of all. And usually 2 or 3, as I understand it, I've never been that far in arrears, 2 or 3 letters would have had where there was mistakes, and so we would get second letter, third letter. Then maybe they'll follow with a phone call. Their initial contact with you will never be a phone call. So don't accept this CRA, social insurance number, all that kind of stuff. Don't accept it. Don't even talk to them. So, unless you want to have a little fun like I did. But they usually hang up. They want to know my name, and I say, well, you know my name. You're a Canadian Revenue Agency. You know my name.
You called me, right?
you phoned me.
You should know.
You should know. Anyway, at which they get very frustrated and don't want to talk to you anymore. Anyway, new law firm. Hey, I did a story this week.
Yeah.
I did a story.
Yeah, you actually
What page did I actually do the story on here? Page 11. There we go.
2 stories on page 11.
I did 2 stories.
Ken was in the newsroom this week.
I was. Anyway, we are getting a second law office in Neepawa. It's going to be Christensen TDS, and it's based out of Portage and Winnipeg. Long-term firm there, Christensen and Christensen, expanding into Neepawa. They're already in McGregor, and they have an office and have had an office for years in the Fox and Insurance building in Gladstone, and now they're going to have an office in the mini mall, as we call it, across from Safeway. That's where Kinley Thompson has their office, and Neepawa Pharmacy, and it's in this spot that was formerly occupied by Yellowhead Physiotherapy, which has now closed down, and now it's called
Stonehouse.
Stonehouse, yeah. And they're out on the west end of town, out behind Chicken Corral. So we still got the physiotherapist in town here. Anyway, and they are going to open soon. They're looking for another staff person or so, and some renovations, and they're going to be open here in Neepawa. So there'll be 2 lawyers again operating out of Neepawa, which is probably a good thing because there's a lot of business going on in Neepawa, real estate, wills, all kinds of stuff going on. So just across the block from there is the Beautiful Plains Credit Union building, which is now, of course, Stride Credit Union, and a lot of renovations there. I had a tour through the building. Everything's going to be changed inside. When you go inside now, it's going to be the tellers are going to be right there when you come in, and you're going to be go to an office. You'll go in behind where the tellers are. There's another separate side where there's going to be a financial planning office there. It has to be a separate entrance. And the reason for that is some of the rules under the Securities Commission. But anyway, seems a little silly, but it's the rules. And then changes on the outside. Oh my goodness, lots of changes. Some of the limestone has been redone in a stained wood. The whole fascia at the top is done. The signage has changed. Parking lots changed. There's going to be a drive-through around behind to get the ATM machine, so you can pick up your money on the run. And I can't imagine doing that. But anyway, whatever. It's some people will like it, I'm sure. So lots of changes there to the Stride Credit Union building in Neepawa, right at the corner of Allen and First and Hamilton. Allen Street's block further south. The law firm's on Allen. Sorry. Anyway, not that anybody cares. It's across from Safeway, and the credit union is across from Vivian Hotel. There you go. Anyway, so that's that story.
Mm-hmm.
We have a few minutes left here. The Neepawa natives there are doing a few changes. Last summer, the board, and I, full disclosure here, I'm the chairman of the board of the Neepawa natives. They passed a motion to change the name of the team, to drop the word natives and adopt a new title, and that's in process. A committee was assigned to review some names, and again, I have to look up my page here and make sure I read it right, even though I should know this off by heart. But anyway, there are 5 names currently under consideration, and it's been put on a poll on Twitter and on Facebook. Yep. And the voting has begun. Anyway, and I think they put on, because they had to have no more than 4 or anyway, they added another name.
Okay.
They took the other than what's in the paper. So it's, the suggestions are Neepawa Knights, Neepawa Brewers, Neepawa Pioneers, Neepawa Salt Miners, Neepawa Valor, and I think they've added Neepawa Generals. And so you can vote on that, and please do. And the board will consider all the voting and make a decision, and then a name will be announced, and then the legal process has to go through. There may be some copywriting things that have to be looked after, certainly name registration. And so in due course, the name will be chosen and announced, but the time now is for some input from the public on the 5, well now 6 names that are out there for consideration. So
Which one is your favorite?
I'm the chairman. I won't say.
Are you on the committee?
Nope.
No? Okay.
No. Well, the chairman is, I guess, ex officio on every committee of a board, but no, I'm not on the committee directly. And but this will come to the board, and it'll be. But don't get too excited, because a name will be chosen by the board, but it won't be announced right away. They'll make sure that if there is any copyright issues, and they'll make sure that the name can be registered. And then the corporation name has to be modified as well, and Neepawa Natives has to be dropped from the corporate documents, and which we hope is a simple thing, according to our lawyer Charlie Taylor. And see, Charlie, you got a plug there, because your competition got a plug earlier today, so in the show. So that's where that's at.
So
What's your favorite?
Oh, it's a tough choice. I like Neepawa Knights because it's alliterative, not obviously technically with the K, but when you say it out loud, it sounds alliterative, so it rolls off the tongue. But I like them all. Like there's a good little background behind each of them, it seems. And Brewers is pretty neat. Pioneers. I like the salt miners as well, because obviously we do have history here. We had a salt well where the Yellowhead used to be, so, and that's where they play. So that makes a lot of sense too. So that would be kind of cool. But yeah, I'm really excited about a logo, because all of these would have a pretty cool logo, I think, and I'm excited to see what they come up with once they do decide on one. But yeah, so did you suggest any of these, or any of these a suggestion that you put in?
No. Nice try.
Okay. No, I didn't. I wasn't going to ask which one. I just wanted to know if you had suggested one.
No, I did not.
No. Okay.
No, I did not.
Okay.
And I like you. I'm reasonably happy with any of them. I think that they have some. Neepawa Knights doesn't have a local tie-in connection, but people do like the name, and you say the alliteration is kind of neat, or the the audio, the verbal alliteration. The written alliteration isn't there. But Neepawa Brewers, obviously, were home of Farmery Brewery. Neepawa Pioneers, pioneer people came to here from Listowel, Ontario in 1877 and settled here. The Graham family were the first ones here. Love telling that story, how the old man, he was 99 when he came here. He lived a few months here, established his homestead here, and then was buried out in the back 40 of his place. Not that far from where the bike park is, actually only a few hundred yards from where the bike park is. And his wife was buried there as well. She lived till she was 103. So back in the 1870s, 1880s, that was quite a feat to live that long. And so that's that history. Salt miners, really we didn't have a salt mine here, but it was salt well. It would have been an awful deep mine because I think the water was brought up from down 12 or 1,500 feet down.
Wow.
But anyway, and then Neepawa Valor, obviously strong military connection. We have people here who fought in the Boer War, First War, Second War, Korean War, served in Afghanistan. We've had a strong military presence here. Used to have the air base here, and where they flew the Tiger Moths, and the generals. Well, that's a good general name. So, anyway, it's it'd be interesting to see how all this goes. We only have a few minutes left, but also in the paper, we talked about the Stride Renos. The Yellowhead had an AGM as well as the Roxy, and some details in there. The Yellowhead lost some money this past year, not surprisingly, because of all the things going on. And also one other thing that's in there this week is a reminder about the Neepawa Medical Clinic Lottery. And there's still time to buy a ticket there. The 50-50 pot for that lottery is at $90,000. So that means the winner would get, at this point, $45,000 cash. The top prize is $100,000. So there's some good prizes there. But more importantly to everybody involved, it's important that we support the medical clinic and the lottery. That's the medical clinic and the number of doctors we have here and all the work that's gone into that and all the other ancillary services that go with it, not the least of which is the lab and the x-ray and the hospital and everything else that's kept strong by having a good complement of doctors here, is a big part of the strength of this community and the reason it is, another reason that it is growing so much. So anyway, that's a good thing. So I think we're just about done for today. I wanted to make sure that if you want to get a hold of us at the Neepawa Banner and Press, be sure to, you can phone us at 204-476-3401. You can email us, news@neepawabanner.com. You can send us ads at neepawabanner.com, and we'd be happy to hear from you. If you have some criticism, you can send that as well. If you have compliments, send stuff to our thumbs up, thumbs down column, and we'd be happy to hear from you. This day and age, so much of our work is done over television, Facebook, emails, website, and so we don't get to see each other as much as we used to. Even before COVID hit, that was kind of the trend. But we do want to keep in touch with you, and we're always happy to see you. You can drop in and see us at 423 Mountain Avenue in downtown Neepawa. So I'm Ken Waddell, publisher of the Neepawa Banner Press. Kira Paterson was with me today for the show, and we thank you for being with us, and we hope to see you soon. Bye for now.